Hi guys, my name is Nadir Singh and this is my term project over sleep and statistics. So the location that I selected was Glenda Dawson High School, my high school in Pearland, Texas. And the reason why I selected this location is because I remembered I did a term project for my AP Statistics class, and I believe that this project would also provide an insight on how things can work out. And I asked Ms. Brown, who is the AP Statistics teacher there, and then Mr. Hammond, the principal over there, for permission for this. Once I got both of their permissions alongside Dr. Scolling's permission, we determined the date being Wednesday, November 19th from 7:15 to 2:35. We set it up everything, and then the presentation itself was composed of two main parts: the PowerPoints, which were about 25 slides covering various informations, focusing on circadian rhythm, and then like different graphs, tips and tricks, and then all that, and then its correlation with statistics. Afterwards, we went on to the booklet, which was about 33 multiple choice questions, and then I'll get into detail on that in the next slide. Afterwards, some of the lasting memories that I had was the brochure itself, and then the booklet, which was discussed prior, and then some of the questions that I answered during my presentation alongside staying after class. So for the results, basically I had a total of 125 students or responses for my booklet, and then that's how I determined my sample population for the overall general population of Glenda Dawson. And Ms. Brown requested that I presented this to all her 6 classes, which were about 50 minutes each, with 5 minutes to spare near the end between classes for questions. The students really loved playing during the booklet. Crypto Hack, Fishing Frenzy, and then Gold Quest, because you were able to steal and do a bunch of fun things throughout. And then, though there wasn't a lot of much, time, basically 2 minutes or so near the end of class, where I could actually interact with students with questions and everything, Eagle Hour or lunch period was the main time where I was able to get my most good memories. And then again, the lasting research that I used was a brochure primarily, which is on the top right, but it also incorporated the booklet, which was about 1 to 2 rounds each, depending on the time that we had remaining. And so the lessons that I learned during this time is that students are actually very interested in their sleep quality and timing, something that I wasn't during my time as a teenager. And then taking supplements, the education on that needs to be increased in recent times due to the access of supplements to the younger population. And this is mainly because students are getting more interested on how to hack their sleep. I'm a victim myself of doing that. And then another thing that I learned was that sleep deprivation starts as teens, which was for me as well, because I did my longest 3-night all-nighter in high school. So that wasn't a good thing. And then cars really changed the decisions that teens make, because this was one of the experiences that I have found, where a student actually asked me if they could go from College Station to Pearland, and then how much sleep they can manipulate between that time, like no hours of sleep and etc. Something that I could improve for next time is going to be making the brochure much more simpler. Instead of making it back and front, make it like a one pager, just simple tips and tricks here and there, rather than making it more informational. And then Miss Brown pointed out that I needed to, things will happen, but you need to advise them on not to do it. And so maybe I could focus more on emphasizing that next time, which I did for the latter half of the presentations. And then some of my best takeaways were the Eagle Hour stories, where I got to learn a lot about students, various things, meet some friends actually during that time. It was basically the most enjoyable time. And then some positive reflections that I had was that I actually didn't expect as many interactions that I had during this time. And I was very grateful that I was able to get to know more people, how their lives are, how sleep has impacted them, and various things that affect sleep. And one of them came out as a question that I wasn't able to answer during the presentation. This was because a student had a personal experience that they wanted to share, and she asked, how this could have potentially affected her sleep. And so I was like, I don't know that much about it, so but that is a good thing I can touch back on. But she said, it really didn't impact her as much, but it affected other things that sleep would generally affect. So it was like a derivative of some sort. And so these are just some of the things. Overall, it was a wonderful experience. I really love this project. And thank you very much for your time in listening to my project. Thank you.